Met up in the Aberfoyle car park and 6 of us were joined by Peter, who basically just wandered over to say hello and ended up having a rather eventful day with the rest of us. We were to be led on the day by Brendan the scientist and also Big George, who had both done this route before. Are you guys crazy? There were plenty of nice clean bikes and show as we left the car park, but I was pretty sure that Stu, George, Brendan, Colin, Tommy, Peter and I would end up with some pretty caked ones by the end of the day. Brendan had cycled over from Rowerdennan, so he had about 19 miles in his legs and planned to finish his run just after lunch as we would be stopping there. He sent me a GPX file which showed the route to be 43 miles long with 3,700 feet of climbing. I think now that sometimes scientists tell lies. This was our route for the day. We headed northwest towards the Comer descent to Loch Lomond before following its shoreline south and then cutting north towards Drimmen and ultimately back over to Aberfoyle. I had my suspicions fairly early on that I may be in for a long day. My legs were feeling decidedly suboptimal within the first hour, and the lads passing me here on this climb felt like a bit of a precursor of what was to come.
'43. Electrical safety inspections, most of it for
the start of the route shares the same trails as the Aberfoyle planned routes, and I'm sure that many of you will recognise the viaducts. It was another day of intermittent rain. Overall we were pretty lucky with it, but it was smurry a lot of the time, so apologies again for the images. I tried to keep the lenses dry, but it was pretty difficult. There had also been a fair bit of rain in the past few days, and a lot of the surfaces felt quite gloopy. If you're enjoying this video, please give it a like and consider subscribing to the channel. It really does help. Thanks. If you'd like to follow any of these routes, the GPX files can be downloaded by either following me on Strava at Douglas Gilligan RACC or on Commute at Specialised Doug. And I know that you guys wouldn't just follow the routes without doing the right thing and also subscribing to the channel on YouTube. Cheers. The cycle up the glen with Ben Lomond off to the left was quite stunning. Thankfully we had a wee tailwind to help us along as we started to climb this 4-mile section. I was really disappointed to discover that the video files for the climb to the top of the glen and the Comer descent had not been saved. The glen was stunning and thankfully I managed to capture some of that in the drone footage, but the Comer descent was nuts. It was super steep, there were some rocky sections and some tricky little tracks which I guess have been created by water running down it. The descent is 1.1 miles long and drops 725 feet. The average gradient is minus 12% and the maximum is a super steep minus 30%. I was quite pleased that I managed to roll down about 80% of it and had to walk the rest. George and Peter made it all the way, the rest of us had to walk at least part of it, and Tommy and Colin had a couple of small crashes. Thankfully neither of them got hurt, and the bikes were okay as well. The Comer Farm climb is listed on Strava as being 4¼ miles long with an average gradient of 2.9%. It's a couple of very steep sections at the start and again towards the end with a false summit thrown in for shits and giggles. I got off to push twice. There were lots of pretty little waterfalls on show in the day as well, taking the rainwater off the hills. Having the drone up means that I have to chase to try and catch back up again, but as we were getting towards the end of a quite testing climb, there was only one pace available to me, which was just the right side of maintaining balance. When I did catch up with the lads, they were enjoying the scenery. I put the drone up to try to capture the stunning views at the top, but it was very windy and she was being blown around a bit. So thanks to Colin for these pictures. Stu and Brendan told me that they'd bunny hopped this fallen tree. What a shame I didn't capture that in camera either. I don't have those skills, so I just went round it.
I wish I'd been there to film that, that would have been amazing. I'll take your word for it though.
Choose on Dad. Don't be so gullible, McFly.
I don't have any footage of the hike-a-bike sections along the shore of Loch Lomond either, so we're just going to have to do it again. Either setting off earlier with lights or maybe do it again in the springtime. I think it would be a beautiful route to do on a nice dry sunny spring day before the midges are established. It was nice to come into Rowerdinnan and hit the tarmac road after the 22 miles of very lumpy and gloopy gravel and mud.
Right, no worries.
The Clansman is a really nice pub and we were well looked after, well fed and watered by the time we left. It helped that Big George is a regular and he had advised the staff that we were coming. This might not be a bad idea if you're doing this route, especially in the spring and summer with it being on the West Highland Way route, and I would imagine it will get pretty busy at times.
Cheers lads, well done. Wow, this is tough. 25 miles in and I'm struggling. That was one of the hardest 20 miles I've ever done, and we've stopped for lunch and my legs are dead.
When we left Rowerdinnan it was getting dark. We had 3 front lights between us and decided to take the road route home for safety reasons. Cycling back in the smirry rain in the dark was really difficult and it felt like cycling in Braille. It was sketchy but we managed, although Stu nearly went off the single track road at one point with me closely following his line. What is it that they say? In the land of the blind, the cyclist with any front light is king.
We made it, Tommy, we made it! Woo-hoo!
Peter told me that he was hoping to cycle 300 miles in November, and at the end of our day he still had 9 to go. Apparently he headed out when he got home and got them in. He's certainly a better man than me, as it took me all my time to run a bath and I didn't clean my very dirty bike until the Monday. And the ride by the numbers, we covered 41 miles with 4,750 feet of climbing. We also racked up 8 or 9 falls, had 2 failed video files and numerous schoolboy errors. That said, did we have a good day? You bet we did. A very memorable one, and we'll be back to do it again in the spring. Thanks for watching.